How about the Miami Hurricanes? How about them? How about Mario Cristobal? How about Carson Beck? How about Shannon Dawson? How about Ruben Bain? Corey Heatherman, you got to give him a ton of credit. You look at Miami, 3 top 25 wins this year. Notre Dame, USF, now Florida State. And it begs the question, is Miami the most complete team in college football right now? And I'll tell you this, the two teams, maybe three, that you're comparing them to, they got a really strong case. Ohio State at the top, arguably the best defensive unit in the country. I would say that. Caleb Downs, what they have on the defensive line, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, super multiple. Oregon, speed, athleticism, trench play. You know what they're about. They emulate their head coach. You look at Miami, and really the biggest difference is, to me, is the quarterback. The quarterback's been there, done that. And it showed up in these games where you've needed experience, where in years past, Miami was 3-3 in one possession ball games. I'll talk about it a little bit. That game got a little hairy at the end in Tallahassee. But if you're looking at what all three of these teams have in common, Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, they're probably the three best offensive line units in the country. And we're going to talk about some teams that have not met expectations. Penn State, Texas, maybe a little bit of LSU. What do they have in common? Take away Penn State. Inconsistent offensive line play. So you have a strong running game. You have dynamic receivers. You have a very complimentary defense. You have a pass rusher that's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. You can make a case that he's the best player in the country right now. And you have a secondary that is very fast and hunts. Mario Cristobal, for as long as I've known him, this is the most complete team he's ever had. Whether it's been at Oregon, whether it's been in Miami, this is it by far. And here's the thing. It's not just about the guys on the field. It's the guys that's coaching them. Mario Cristobal is a master motivator. You know what his DNA is. He wants to establish both sides of the line of scrimmage. On one side, he's got Alex Mirabal, his long trusted confidant. On the other one, he's got a Hall of Famer in Jason Taylor. On the offensive side of the ball, calling plays, he's got Shannon Dawson, who has taken Cam Ward and he's taken Carson Beck, and he lets these guys just breathe life into an open offense. And Mario's done a tremendous job building continuity, player development on the offensive line, running backs that fit the identity to a T of what Miami wants to be, versatile tight ends, and receivers, and C.J. Daniels, and Keelan Marion, and Malachi Toney, that have just been a beautiful complement to Carson Beck and what he didn't have last year. And Mario has evolved. This is the best staff he's ever had. And in today's college football, there's not a limit on anything. I counted up. He's got 18 analysts off the field. And this is a team that's coming into these games and they look prepared. They look like one of the most complete teams in the country. And with the quarterback that's got the experience, if you were to go head-to-head against Oregon or Ohio State and put them in the same bucket as a Carson Beck with a Dante Moore and a Julian Sand, who would you favor? You'd favor Miami because he's been there, done that. Now, here's the thing with Miami. I brought up the record in one-possession games last year, 3-3. All right, so far, 2-0 in those games. Notre Dame, Florida State. That game on Saturday was unnecessarily close at the end. And if there's one question mark that I have about Miami, and it's so ironic just because of who Mario Cristobal is, but when you have the opportunity to put the nail in the coffin. Can you do it? And can you do it against a formidable opponent? Because if you play with your food like you did last night, or you play with your food like you did against Notre Dame, you did enough to win both of those games, and you should be commended on that. But this is an area that I want to see Miami take the next step. And quite honestly, it's always been somewhat of an issue under a Mario Cristobal type team. Don't be conservative. Be that team for 60 minutes. Be that team for 60 minutes. Be a 60-minute ball team. And if you look at Miami and what they have on their schedule, you would look at it and say, all right, I feel very confident that Miami's going to run the table, win the ACC championship, and be a lock for the college football playoffs. But it was kind of this time last year where things got a little hairy. And that didn't necessarily equate to losses, but it was giving up 34 points to Virginia Tech, almost losing that game at home. It was a ferocious comeback in Berkeley late night against Cal. Give up 38 points there. Louisville, you give up 45. And I get it, new defensive coordinator, new personnel, whole new secondary. That's why you did it. But what I'm saying is, from a psychological standpoint, we have to take the next step. That has to really be the mantra for Miami here. Championship teams have an elite level of focus week to week. It's one thing to battle your ass off against Oregon at home in a whiteout, but when you lose that game and it's a heartbreaker, and the next week you have to go on the road to UCLA, who's 0-4, and there's nobody in the stands, there has to be a heightened level of focus and execution and player-led motivation that carries your team. Penn State didn't have it. All right, now they have a huge mountain to climb to go get back in the college football playoff race. And for Miami, it's about, can you get past Syracuse? Can you get past Georgia Tech? Can you do the little things right for a long duration? And it's really easy when you're under the microscope and everybody's looking at you, and it's these big games, and we got to get up for them to go out there and execute at a high level. Not easy, but you get my point. It's what's expected. And if you're looking at Miami and you're looking at their schedule, Louisville at home, Stanford at home, at SMU. Like, what's it look like over the next month? How are we taking care of business? Because it's all about playing your best football when you get ready for the conference championship and when you get ready for the college football playoff. And that's a high level of execution and urgency week in and week out. Miami's got all the parts. They got all the parts to win a national championship. But this is it. No rat poison, nothing. High level execution, day to day, week to week. And I'll say this. Miami had Cam Ward, guy that was in the Heisman race last year, number 1 pick in the draft. They didn't do the things that they had to do from a personnel standpoint. They didn't make that same mistake twice. And I commend Mario Cristobal for doing that, because to win a national championship, it's a year-to-year thing. Your roster last year indicates nothing about this year. What are we doing to put our guys in the best position to be successful year to year? And really, for me, that starts up front. Inez Cooper's played a lot of football. Brockermeyer's played a lot of football. Malinois played a lot of football. Markel Bell's played a lot of football. offensive line continuity experience, that's where it starts. And can you instill enough confidence in your quarterback? But how do you do that? Protect him. And if there's one part that's indicative of winning for Miami and Miami fans, it's how much Mario, Mirabal, the entire university invest in offensive line play. So if you're a Miami fan, man, I'd be feeling good, confident, but cautiously optimistic. Like, let's keep that business mentality, that foam at the mouth competitor, and let's freaking go. Let's go. We want to be playing our best football when it's the most important time to be feeling really good about ourselves. And in order to do that, we got to take it week to week.